With the Salvation Army currently serving in 127 countries, we have the opportunity to meet people from many different walks of life. A young woman who grew up in Trenton, New Jersey, one of the most challenging neighborhoods in the United States, shares how she encountered the Salvation Army.
I grew up in the city of Trenton, and most of the predominant things in our area are drug addiction, alcohol, all types of immorality. But, you make the best of it when we become a family. I'm grateful that I grew up here. Wasn't a whole lot of God at all, I would say, in our household. Where I grew up at, that example of marriage and the education of purity is something that we really lacked of mentors. I had my daughter when I was 16 years old. There was a lot of outside pressures of you're not going to finish school, or you kind of ruined your life. And I think that drove me for something else, because it was like, I am going to be somebody. I'm not going to let this stop me. So I was determined basically to work. I was determined to go to school. I graduated and, I got a really good job. I bought my home at 18, bought a car. And I thought that's what it was about. If you work, then you're doing what you need to do for your family. Regardless of how much I'm working or how many people have to babysit her while I'm working, as long as she has what she needs, is kind of what became my drive. I felt empty. I felt like I didn't know me, no one ever knew me, and no one ever loved me, and almost to the point of why was I even created? Something inside of me was like, I want love. So I told my daughter, I said, Mommy's gonna take you to church. This is probably like in 2004. I think maybe for the first 5 to 6 years in the church, I did what the Lord wanted. In that time period of losing natural things, I was gaining a lot of things that I didn't see at the time. But I started to get weary, just tired of the warfare, I would say. At that time, I might have been in the church about 6 years. I kind of just was like, God, I'm tired. The more I serve you, the harder it gets. And I don't understand why you would tell me one thing and I'm experiencing another thing naturally. I purposely went back into familiar ways. And it was a battle. And that's how I know that God had changed me, because even when I fell into temptation and into sin, into fornication, even when I fell into that, it was in a comfortable place. When I grew up, it was normal. You understand what I'm saying? So when I did it, after these 6 years of serving the Lord, it was terrible. I went home one day and I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I just started to seek the Lord again, like wholeheartedly. I started going down to the downtown fountain. And I would say, I'm sorry, I doubted you. I'm sorry that I sought my own way. All that time that I was walking to the fountain, I had to pass the Salvation Army. So one day I was walking, I look up at the building and I'm like, wait a second, Salvation Army. So I'm like, wow, this is an army of salvation. They got some strategic stuff going on here. Let me figure out what's going on in this place. I seen the War Cry magazine, and I went home that day and I just could not take my eyes out of the magazine. I read that magazine from like cover to cover. And I came back the next day here. I was just so excited. I said, wow, I want to be connected with what's going on here. I think maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, I was able to meet the majors at the church. We got to talking about some of the things that I used to do in the community, and they said to me, well, it's not nothing big. It's a 3-month temporary position, a kettle manager, and we was wondering if that would be something that you would be interested in. God really blessed the kettle efforts that year. First thing he had me do was create a kettle's prayer strategy. I normally try to create prayer strategies before anything I do because I don't know what I'm doing. But he does, right? So I asked him. I was able to get a full-time position as the community outreach volunteer coordinator. It's just like, wow, God couldn't have put me in a more perfect place. It's so awesome because I didn't seek it. I wasn't seeking a job here. I wasn't seeking any resources here. I was seeking the Lord, and he was found, and I can truly count on him. I thank God for the Salvation Army, and I know that it's going to bless a whole lot of people because of their willingness to go out, because of their willingnness to pray, because he is near unto our cries. He hears us. Call on the Lord and pray and ask God to lead you to spiritual mentors. I'm still praying for that, lead you to spiritual mentors that can help guide you along the way.
In closing, we hear from Philippians, "Do everything without grumbling or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without fault in a warped and crooked generation. Then you will shine among them like stars in the sky." Thank you for watching. For Salvation Army Today, I'm Jeremiah Henson. God bless.